Hey, what's going on, guys? I just want to chop it up with you real quick regarding the preseason. So we have a lot of storylines that are coming up for us that are going to be really important for us to hammer out. But I guess to start things off, we have some really interesting updates that came through. So today we found out Elijah Moore ended up having a quadriceps injury. Um, he did leave practice early. He got an MRI the same day. So the good news is that if things pan out, perfect storm for him, we might even see him still for this first preseason game against the Giants. If not, then hopefully we get him back for that second week. Denzel Mims, we've gotten a lot more information about kind of what was going on with him during the offseason. So, food poisoning via salmon, of all things. And I heard it was in the Jets cafeteria, so that could be a huge piece of it, because you have to imagine a lot of their health and nutrition, the amount of time that they're spending at the workplace, the office, they're at the facilities. So that could be a huge thing. But 20 pounds he lost, something within that range. I know they said he dropped from like 228 to 197, I think it was. And for anybody that hasn't been, in any kind of athletics, sports, anything like that, 20-ish pounds doesn't seem like a whole lot per se, but you have to imagine he's mostly muscle. I would assume that mostly muscle was lost, and it's going to take some time. I've had a bout with food poisoning myself, and it was not a fun experience. It takes you a lot of time to just the symptoms alone get over it, but after that, just to kind of get back to feeling some level of normalcy. So with him trying to perform at the highest level, you can only imagine how much more stress that kind of put on him. In addition to that, we also had Chuma Edoga. I know he had a knee scope that's coming through, so they say we'll probably have him back by regular season as well. But let's get into the actual storylines, right? So I don't necessarily have any for every position, I should say. But some of the main ones that come to mind is the wide receiver core. So Denzel Mims has actually been making a lot of noise more recently. Saleh has kind of clarified for us that everybody's been in rotation consistently, so they can kind of see how they want to stack the depth chart, give everybody that opportunity to be able to perform and show what they have in the limelight. So no different for Denzel Mims. The lights have turned on a little bit more, I'm assuming, as he's progressed in his recovery and felt a whole lot better. So one of the good things is that he may have a even more opportunity, if Elijah Moore doesn't actually make it, to kind of make some noise and see if he can move up the depth chart a bit. I would be okay with Braxton Berrios being our, number 6 option, and then some variation of either Keelan Cole, Jamison Crowder, or Denzel Mims falling in between that 3 to 5 category. Honestly, I think it's Elijah Moore and then Corey Davis kind of at those 2 positions, and then everything else after that could be up for discussion. From a tight end perspective, I think this is the opportunity that if we're going to see somebody really show that they can be a presence in the offense, this is going to be that first huge opportunity. The green and white scrimmage, I wasn't necessarily worried a whole lot about, but unfamiliar opponent, unfamiliar scheme, this is kind of, official live action again. So will it be the veteran Tyler Kroft that kind of stands out and shows that he can kind of lead the way for this season, or is it going to be a case where we see maybe Kenny Yeboah show us that during his rookie season, maybe he can give us a season like what we got from Chris Herndon in his rookie season, maybe better, maybe slightly worse, but anything in that ballpark would, definitely give excitement to the fans. We don't really have a whole lot to look forward to when it comes to the tight end position at the moment. With all the injuries as well, ravaging the offensive line, we have a lot of players at the interior position missing, and those were going to be some of the most key spots that position battles were taking place at. Now, we know Becton's at left tackle. We know Elijah Vera Tucker would have been holding down the fort at left guard. Connor McGovern at center. Right guard was that primary spot. You can argue no matter who won, Morgan Moses or George Fant, that's a win at right tackle. So Dan Feeney originally signed, and we thought he was going to be, a solid rotation piece as a backup. He potentially will need to step in. And by the way, he always had an opportunity to win, but you never really got the feel that that was going to be kind of the expectation. So We still don't know. Maybe a rookie can stand out. Maybe somebody else, we see how they slide. I've kind of talked before about, whoever loses out of the Morgan Moses, George Fant battle, maybe they shift over to right guard. But Dan Feeney is looking like, especially with the injuries, he may be a more vital piece than originally expected. So from everything I've heard and kind of seen from his career with San Diego, he's had moments where he's looked like an above average starter, but everything kind of says low end talent or above average to average kind of backup level production that we're going to get out of him. So I don't see him being a weakling from the normal perspective, but with the improvements that we've had throughout the line, maybe that shines a little bit brighter. So Dan Feeney, if we see him starting at right guard, which I believe that's probably going to be the case for the game against the Giants we have, this is the first opportunity to kind of see how cohesive the line is going to be and what that adjustment may look like if that's how we have to walk into the regular season. So we'll see how the offensive line kind of plays that out, how Coach Salin, the offensive line coach, what they want to exactly do in terms of how they want to attack things. So we know the run game is going to be first. Maybe they're willing to sacrifice some level of immediate success in order to kind of groom that rookie or groom that person with, those physical traits right away, if it's catered to the run game while they, perfect work on the pass blocking skill set. One of the other things is going to be Quentin Williams. We're still not going to see him. Let's see how effective the defensive line is. Are we going to be able to rack up a lot of sacks throughout the course of the game? I'm not even worried about just the first quarter, but we're so stacked at defensive line that it would be almost a little bit of a disappointment. I get it. First preseason game, first time people having that much contact again in quite a while, but the pace of the game is definitely going to change, preseason or not, first game or not. Things are going to ramp up a little bit even from training practice. So it's another reason why I'm excited for when we get these joint practices with the Packers, with the Eagles. Will the defensive line show that they are going to be that dominant front throughout the course of this game? We have the rookies at the linebackers, secondary, both cornerback and safety level that could potentially stand out. How effective, what does Hamza Nasruddin look like? Jamie Sherwood should see pretty consistent reps throughout the game. Saleh made a point to mention Zach Wilson and pretty much the rest of the first team offense and defense. They are going to see hopefully about the full first quarter or so. I've seen 2 drives at least. And then everything else is about trying to get this young team, who's going to be our core. Let's see what we can see from the team. So Jamie and Sherwood, we should see a lot of. There's just a lot of other linebacking talent that we brought in. Jarrad Davis, he's going to be part of that crew that sees the first quarter. But after that, a lot of names pretty much fall. They fall through the cracks when you think about the linebacker core. So everything has really been about these rookies. I'm not sure if they'll kind of keep Bryce Huff in a hybrid role where, he'll be on the line. Sometimes he'll be, backing up as a linebacker. But I think that's to be determined. Now, when it comes to the cornerbacks, we have all those 5th and 6th round picks that we're waiting on. Brandon Echols, Jason Pinnock. I'm particularly also interested, not to be forgotten, we brought in Justin Hardy from the Saints. We brought him in for a specialized role and effectiveness on special teams, but maybe he shows that he has, some kind of gumption and can get some realistic snaps on defense this season. I think I've seen something crazy like he's played less than maybe 100 snaps total throughout his career so far on actual defense. So it's not necessarily a knock per se against him, but he's so good on special teams that you don't really want to knock that. But hopefully we see him in some live coverage reps as well, and he contributes just beyond special teams. The kicker situation as well. That's something where we need to see, who's going to win that position. At this point, I don't want to say that it's a toss-up per se, but I've definitely heard it's kind of been back and forth. Some practices have been really good, some not so great, and it generally is coming from one kicker has a lot of power. The other kicker is a lot more consistent. Seems like they have better accuracy when they are able to kind of drive through the ball. So we'll kind of see if somebody stands out from that position. Can we actually rock and lean on somebody? because it's been forever and a day. Nick Folk honestly was the last consistent kicker that we had on like a year in, year out basis. And even then, we kind of pressed him with competition at certain points when we thought he was slipping. So those are pretty much the major storylines that I'm going to be paying particular attention to when the Giants game finally kicks off. But let me know what your guys' thoughts are. Who are you looking forward to seeing? Football is finally back, so we can finally, get all the screams, all the shouts, all the excitement out. And I'm really hoping that Zach Wilson, we see improvement from what happened with the green and white scrimmage. We've been stacking a lot of good practices lately. And I kind of like one of the quotes he mentioned too, I guess, to end the video, in that he mentioned, and it's kind of wiser beyond what you usually hear from rookies, is that this training camp is his time to kind of test and experiment and see what his limitations are, what he can get away with while he adjusts to the speed of the game. And I've heard that from a few other veterans before. Drew Brees has mentioned it at least once or twice. There was one particular offseason when Cam Newton was still going through his MVP phase, where, he had a string of bad practices and, everybody went crazy. So he's a rookie. At the end of the day, we're still going to go, deal with ups and downs. But there's a lot of hope moving into week 1. So we'll see where the chips fall and kind of break down things after that. But appreciate you guys hanging out with me. And again, drop a comment. Let me know what you guys are expecting to see, what you're interested in. And I'll catch up with you guys after the game. Peace.